listen, I'm thinking about breaking up with Susan. Oh, I thought you and Susan were great. No, I don't, oh, it's going to be hard. She's really in love with you. I know, but I'm just not that into her. I mean, honestly, the sex isn't that good. I find her kind of boring. And how do I let her down easy? Oh, it's going to be hard, man. She's going to cry, but you need to do it sooner than later. Okay, you're right. A month wears on. They still haven't gotten up the nerve to break up with her. And then one day she's like, I'm leaving you. I've met somebody else. And what do you think happens? For a year, I got to listen to this guy. Susan, I loved her. And I let her go.
Well, I ended up like developing feelings for her, and I, confess them. And she told me that like she doesn't want that, but she just wants to continue having this friends with benefits situation. I feel like she sends so many mixed signals.
Yeah. I'm going to say something I don't normally say, but it could be the money. Here's the typical profile. She grew up super poor and was like, I don't know, or she grew up super rich and she was like, I don't really think I can live in the lifestyle you seem to be comfortable with. I had a good friend, super handsome guy, dated a girl for a while and they were in love. I mean, it was a great relationship. He really wanted to be an actor in LA. And she was like, look, I love you and cannot marry you because she grew up super rich. She was like, this is not the life I want for my kids. And I thought, what a bitch. She was my friend and she was like, love is all that matters. And love is mostly all that matters. Like there are some lines in the sand for some women where they're just, and she can't say that out loud. She can't say, I just don't know that you're enough of a provider to fulfill my fantasy, particularly if she's like, there's a certain age where this would be particularly relevant, where she's thinking about, she's going to want kids at some point, but she's not that desperate yet. And so she's like, I'm holding out for somebody who is be as awesome as you and can provide for me better. So I'm not going to catch feelings for you. And I'm going to go, no, I don't feel anything in my heart because, I don't want to have to work that fucking hard at survival. This is why women go for men in their 40s, okay? Because men in their 30s generally don't have their financial shit dialed yet. Takes a while. Used to take less time, right? It used to be that a guy in his 30s, had a fucking career. Not anymore. Right? It takes longer. It does. Some guys do, but for a lot of guys, for me, I didn't have jack until I was into my 40s. I was starving in a studio apartment that was literally smaller than your kitchen, So that's a possibility because there's some instinct there around creating a nest that you might not be fulfilled. That's a possibility. There's another possibility, which by the way is a stronger possibility than this. Even I went down that long rabbit hole, but the truth is that the stronger possibility is that she's just has an avoidant attachment style, adult attachment style. She's just an avoidant and emotions scare the shit out of her and she's going to keep being that way. And that's going to be a tough nut for somebody to crack. And maybe nobody's going to crack it because there are people, mostly men, but plenty of women as well, who as soon as the conversation turns to squishy feelings, they kind of lose consciousness. And when they wake up, everybody's dead. There's blood all over the walls and they're holding a knife. And they're like, what happened? Like they just keep sabotaging. They can't not sabotage it. And it has to do with the way they were raised, their childhood. And this attachment style thing is super real. That's all I can tell you. It's super real.
And I think that is more of the scenario because she is a more mental, almost like more of a masculine woman and how her internal world works. And I feel like she's very resistant to tapping into her own emotions willingly. And she acknowledges that that's kind of a barrier.
I've had a woman that I dated tell me out loud in those words. I actually just stole her words. I literally just quoted an ex-girlfriend who said, I don't do the emotional thing. If I start catching feelings for somebody, my mind goes blank. And when I wake up, everybody's dead. There's blood all over the walls and there's a knife in my hand. She's like, I just fucked things up. She was an avoidant. And needless to say, by the way, of course I caught feelings for her. And of course she dumped me.
Yeah. It's like them not wanting you makes you want them more.
And she was right, by the way. There was blood all over the wall. She was super mean about it. She did it in a really cruel, crazy way that was nothing like the girl that I knew. Like it was like Jekyll and Hyde. And then after we broke up, we became friends again and she's cool again. Bottom line is, you can't force this stuff. You can get really good at making a lot of women turn you into their dream guy. You can get really good at it. You can get to the point where most women, most of the time, are just going to see you and just imagine their children who look kind of like you. You know what I mean? But you can't get them. You know, of course, I hate to say it, but of course, if you move on and you start dating other women, she very well might realize, holy fuck, I'm going to lose him, and then suddenly fall in love with you and start stalking you. Could happen. Could easily happen. Might even probably happen. I don't know. But I don't know. You know, I don't know. But, you know, she knows you pretty good. I don't think you and I are going to figure out how to alter this. I think in the short term, you either have to discipline yourself. It's like if you're a smoker and you decide, I don't want to smoke anymore, but I'd like to socially smoke just a couple of cigarettes a month. Maybe if I'm out on the weekend, maybe I'll smoke one or two, but other than that, I'm not going to smoke. That's hard. If you can do it, great. I mean, you know, you do you, what's your life, but how do you feel if she's, you know, banging other guys? Back to the video in a moment. But if you're struggling in your relationships with women, the answer might very well be a lack of attraction. How do you build attraction? Well, I've got a diagnostic quiz that's going to help you to locate exactly what your issue is and get you on the road to having more success in every one of your relationships. Click here and check it out now. Now back to the video. But how do you feel if she's, you know, banging other guys?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I put that boundary down. Yeah. Because I don't want to, I'm not going to sleep with her if she's even just going on dates with other guys and not even banging them.
That is not a friend with benefits. Just say, hey, look, this is just where we arrived. I know it sucks, but we just got here together. You know what I mean? We got here together. You knew I had feelings for you. I probably shouldn't have helped you out with this place, but I did. That was a mistake. You know, I'll give you a month, but you need to find a place. And then maybe you can go back to friends with benefits. But again, that's like having a couple of cigarettes a month. It's hard.
Yeah. I mean, I would rather just move on and try to date someone else versus continue.
You don't have a problem with that, are you?
Yeah.
You're going to get plenty of women. And if you're smart, you'll recognize that you're on the rebound and you're not going to fall in love with the first one. Like, take it easy. There's plenty of women out there. And you're very young. Go have fun.
But there's like no really, other than just kind of detaching myself from her, focusing on me and doing my thing, there's really no other route to kind of revive the relationship.
Well, there's nothing to revive. She never wanted a relationship, right? She wanted friends with benefits. There's nothing to revive. She got exactly what she wanted. And she doesn't want to take it further than that. And the thing is, with adult attachment style, that it is not impossible to get somebody who's an avoidant to become confident and comfortable in their attachment with you. It is not impossible. But it's very fucking hard because they won't come to the table to try. Whereas somebody who has an anxious attachment style, who's like very clingy and needy, you can fix that because they have a great desire to fix it. They want to have a good, healthy relationship. And so they come to the table and they work hard and they fix it. But if you're an avoidant, you're like, why would I want to fix this? I don't want to be in a relationship. You know? So that it makes it's not impossible, but she's got to want to come to the table to try and fix it. And there's nothing that I can teach a man to circumvent the free will of women. You know, eventually, you know, some girls are just going to say, no, thank you, not you. And surely you have had the experience of a woman who was crazy about you and you were like, sorry, I'm just not that into you. You definitely had that experience. And it wasn't because they were losers or bad people. In fact, you might have felt super bad about it at the time. They were totally cool. They weren't the one you were looking for whatever reason.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I've had that difficult conversation with plenty of women. I've broken up with a lot of women. Sure you have too. It's hard. It's hard. And there's nothing wrong with them. There's literally nothing wrong with them. It's just they weren't the girl that I wanted to spend my life with.
Yeah.
There is this other piece that you should know, because it's important that you know, which is that she's playing hard to get. I mean, she's not playing. She's hard to get. And that makes you want her more. It makes you want her more than she's actually worth. She may be great, but she's not as great as you think she is, because there's all this dopamine in your brain that's really fucking with you.
I think that's very true because, when we initially started dating, I feel like I got a more clear picture. I was like, I don't think it's going to work out. But now that it's like this impossible thing to get, it's, very real.
I myself have had the experience, and I've watched clients go through it. I've watched friends go through it. Well, I'll have a friend who said, I've been through this myself. I could just report it first person, but I've certainly had friends who said to me, listen, I'm thinking about breaking up with Susan. Oh, I thought you and Susan were great. No, oh, it's going to be hard. She's really in love with you. I know, but I'm just not that into her. I mean, honestly, the sex isn't that good. I find her kind of boring. And they've got like a thing. They want to break up with her. They're like, how do I let her down easy? And I'm like, it's going to be hard, man. She's going to cry, but you need to do it sooner than later. And they're like, okay, you're right. A month wears on. They still haven't gotten up the fucking nerve to break up with her. And then one day she's like, I'm leaving you. I've met somebody else. And what do you think happens? For a fucking year, I got to listen to this guy going, Susan, I loved her. And I let her go. Shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? And this happens all the time. It happened. Totally happened. It was a girl I was absolutely planning on breaking up with. And then she broke up with me, and I pined for her. And I was like, I know this is fucking dopamine crazy brain chemistry, but I couldn't unfeel it. So you got to just know that's part of it. And based on that, you could, if you worked hard enough to turn this around, you could end up marrying this girl, having kids with her, and then realizing, yeah, she's not that great. Imagine in your future relationship in 5 years that this is kind of an ongoing thing where you have to kind of hustle for your worthiness inside the relationship. It's a nightmare. Versus a woman who just thinks you are literally the greatest man that has ever lived, and all she wants to do is just stare into your eyes, suck your and die in your arms. You know what I mean? And I mean this in the sweetest way. Like, I'm saying it in a crass way, but I mean it in the most beautiful way.
Yeah, I would prefer the latter for sure.
Of course. And she's out there. Of course. There's a lot of them there. There's something about just really thinking a woman is the greatest woman you've ever met in your life, and then discovering she thinks the same thing about you without any serious effort on your part. If you like this video and you want to see more content like this, please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe, and when you subscribe, don't forget to click the bell and hit all so that you receive notification when we drop the new ones. And of course, if you have any questions or comments, leave them below. I do watch these comments and I do answer as often as I can.